Hello Kitaholic Kits fans, it is Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters, and thank you for joining me for this design team layout. So for this process video, I am loving me a little grid layout. Now I've got to tell you, it was really hard for me to decide which side of this paper to use. Oh, I loved those little green leaves. I just thought they were so cute. But this beautiful soft cream flower was gorgeous as well. So in the end, I cut out 2 little squares of the green so I could sneak them into this layout. But I am going to use the flower side. But look how pretty that is. Oh, Steph, I need 2 of these, please. 2, so I can have 1 for each side. So I'm just actually using sticky tape to adhere this one on, because obviously the hole in the paper means there wasn't really anywhere I could adhere it to. Then I pulled this label out of our Let's Stay Home Pink Fresh Studios ephemera, but it was a little bit too small to be the same size as my squares, so I had to cut it in half and sort of stretch it out a bit. You don't really notice when you're looking. But I really wanted to make sure you could see the little pink ruffle at the top and the bottom of the square. So I go ahead and do that. And now I need to adhere the whole thing to my page. These holes were actually a little bit tricky to work with for a minute. Once I fill them, we're all good to go, and it makes the whole process quicker and easier. So you can see I'm kind of mirroring what I'm doing here. I've got the 2 same color blush pinks as the base of the 2 diagonal squares. Obviously the pattern is different, but that base color is the same. And then I'm using the 2 black and white florals as the base for the other 2 diagonal squares. And they're going to be the bottom part of my grid layout. I just stuck that piece a little bit too far down, so I'm just squishing him up a little bit. Now I don't want this to be a perfect square, like measured out perfectly. I do want it to be a little bit winky wonky. So I'm going to pull that in with these 2. The 2 pinks are pretty straight, so I'm going to make sure the 2 black and white ones are a little bit winky wonky, so that they kind of add a little bit of dimension and a little bit of something to each of the squares. Now to start layering them up. I could absolutely have left them as they were, but I really want to use a whole bunch of pattern paper and really add some color and just lots of different layers to what you can see here. So I'm using some scraps, some cut off bits, some excess, just a whole bunch. Like that little white yellow stripe piece is actually off the top of the homemade terrarium tag. You can see over on the left hand side, it was a little bit too tall, so I just cut it off, but then instead of tossing it out, I'm adding it into that layer. That little green leaf cut file there, that is one of the exclusive cut files that we got maybe back in April. It is definitely an old exclusive cut file that I just have in my library now, thanks to Neat and Crafty Cut Files for those exclusives. As you can see, I've layered up this one again, and this is where my photo is going to go. I want to make sure you can see that super cute green leaf paper though. I deliberately cut that out. I don't want to lose it, so I'm just making sure that's there. Then putting on that little floral, and these are going to mirror each other, so they're going to essentially have the same design. There's a pink underneath and a leaf underneath, and then a little pop of another color as well. So I just want to make sure that they essentially are identical, but you don't necessarily notice they're identical because the pattern papers are that little bit different. They just are eye-catching. So I'm going to put those on there and pop up my photo. There's quite a bit of the pink or the coral paper sticking out in this square, but that's okay because, this piece of ephemera I knew I was going to put up here is a reasonably large one, so it ties in quite well. You don't look at it and think, oh, that grid's sticking out quite a bit. So I then pulled this little envelope piece. Oh no, I'm actually playing with my title at the moment, sorry. I had a lot of trouble with this because I couldn't decide whether I should be trying to make homemade fit as one word. In the end, I just put them on 2 separate lines because it was just too hard to get it to fit on that one little teeny tiny piece of ephemera. It was really tricky for me to use that piece of ephemera like this. It's such a cute little stamp. I didn't want to turn it over, but I love that Pink Fresh Studio has embellished or at least colored both sides of their ephemera. So if the embellished side doesn't suit your needs, you can flip it and there's a plain side. I just think that's amazing. I found it really hard with this tag too. That floral tag is like the cutest thing in this whole collection, and I'm turning it over and using the back. I'm just mad. But I think the tag really adds to like I needed something in the pocket here, and the color is just perfect, so I'm just gonna have to live with it. So yeah, just popping all these on again on top of each other. I tried to cut 3 of those leaf cut files. Obviously they're quite small. They'd be about 4x4 size. If I cut 3 of them, they'd be about 4x4 size because they were able to fit in a row along the top of my 12-inch paper. So I tried to cut 3 of them, but as you can see, I managed to successfully cut 1 and 2 leaves out of 3. I am in desperate need of a new blade and even a new cut mat, actually. So that will definitely need to go into an online order ASAP because I am in struggle street. But I actually really like how it looks, only having the 2 leaves down in the bottom, in this bottom corner that I'm working with now. So that was a really happy accident because I think that actually looks really cool. So now I am done. I am going to pop on some gold Heidi Swap Color Shine and call this one complete. So here are my close-up photos. I'm really thrilled with how this turned out. The green paper that I use for my cut file is just from my stash, but everything else has come out of the kit, and I think this is super, super cute. So thank you so much for sticking around. I hope I have inspired you to use up maybe some scraps and get as many different pattern papers on your page as you can. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time for my next layout. Thanks everyone. Have a happy scrappy week.